Okay, so we're gonna be going over a few more techniques to create value, and you're gonna have the option to choose between two of them, okay? The first technique we're gonna be looking at is called scribbling. Okay, it's pretty much just like what it sounds, but there is gonna be some control and technique involved. So, a good place to start is choosing sort of a pattern for your scribble. A really easy one to use is just a continuous spiral. And to create your darkest value, you want to start with smaller spirals and constantly be layering them on top of each other. Okay. Other options are doing like a figure 8 or, you know, some kind of wiggle pattern. So choose your pattern and then increase the space between the scribbles as you decrease your value, and you can also enlarge your scribbles to decrease your value. Remember, you want to create a value scale with the same number of values that your mountainscape has, which should have been 5 to 7. Okay. Your next option is called stippling, which is really just a series of dots. Okay. Here's an example of it done in the mountainscape, and I'll show you a couple examples of it done in some of my portraits that I've drawn. So all this value is created just using tiny dots layered, okay? This is a more time-consuming process, but it creates a really nice illusion. So maybe if you are experimenting, you could do like a smaller scale, value scale, until you determine if you're gonna use it. And then our third option is patterns. And this is really a group of techniques, okay? I used a circular pattern in my example. Really the definition of pattern is just any repeating shape or line. So you can create patterns using geometric shapes. You can create patterns using a combination of shapes and lines. Okay, you can use more organic shapes to create patterns. To adjust the value, you could play with things like the thickness of the line or the size of your different patterns. So that would be something that you could exercise a little bit of creativity in designing your own pattern. Okay. Whichever two that you decide to go with, you really want to practice again on a little bit larger of a space. So let's say I decide I'm going with scribbling and stapling. I would maybe just create 2 workspaces where I can really practice the technique on a larger scale before moving into my final. Okay, so the requirement for the final is everyone must have the hatching and the cross hatching done, and then you need to choose 2 other techniques. They can be the same ones I showed you. You can create your own pattern, but they need to match the value for your mountain.